Christy, this is audio check. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you. And greetings to everybody. Welcome to the public town hall meeting for the post-disaster relocation and buyout program. We will be beginning in a minute. If everyone would mute their device, you can either *6 on your phone or hit the mute button. And we will be getting started here in 1 minute. Looks like there are still some people joining us.
Everything good? I know she hasn't started just yet, but are everything okay on your side?
Jacqueline, you're unmuted.
It is 10:02. I think we'll get, if we roll back to the first slide, please. For those just joining us, if you would mute your phone, either through your mute button or you can *6. If you are joining us by your computer, please mute your device. Thank you very much. and welcome to everyone. Welcome to our town hall meeting for the post-disaster relocation and buyout program. My name is Christy Lambright. I'm with the Harris County Community Service for attending the. Please note that this virtual meeting will be recorded both audio and visually. So if your video is on, we are recording you, and you might want to turn off your video camera and just listen to the presentation. So just a reminder, unless you are asking a question, we ask that you mute your phone or your device so that the call quality will come through very well. The purpose of the meeting is to give you information on the new post-disaster relocation and buyout program. This is to help you understand the necessity of the program, how the program works, and how it will impact your community. Before we get into the program itself, let's go over a few of the items to help us the best experience possible for this virtual meeting and the technology that we're using to host it. If we could go back to the rules slide, please. Jacqueline, can we go to the House rules slide, please?
Yeah, we're having technical difficulty. We'll have it right back up momentarily.
Okay. The joys of virtual meetings.
Yes.
Well, let me go through that slide real quick. For those just joining us, I will repeat that this meeting is being recorded, both audio and video. So if you have your camera on, we can see you and we are recording you. Please mute yourself upon entering the presentation. If by some chance you are on your phone and do not have a mute button, you can press *6 to mute and unmute yourself. If you have questions during the presentation, please type your question in the chat window. You can look for the little chat bubble, which is displayed on your screen in the slide. Or you can hold your question for the question and answer session at the end of our presentation. We will have plenty of time where you can unmute and ask your question, or if you prefer to chat with us through the chat room, we will certainly provide answers there also. Once again, reminder to all those, we are recording this session. Next slide, please. The things that we will cover during this presentation are: why is this program necessary? How were if everyone would mute your phone, we would appreciate it.
Bueno. Yes,
Greetings, welcome to the presentation. If you would mute your phone, please, or your computer. Other items that we will discuss today was selected and what happens after being bought out, what services and assistance you can expect to receive from the program, what is the process for the program, how do you get started, and finally, we'll have a question and comment session at the end of the program.
Hello?
Next, we'll be going over the costs of flooding as soon as the slide comes. If you are just joining us, please mute your phones. We can hear some talking in the background. Thank you very much. If you do not have a mute button on your phone, please *6 to mute your phone. The cost of flooding. As you know, Hurricane Harvey is devastating. 154,000 homes, causing $125 billion in damage just in Harris County. Repetitive flooding.
Están diciendo que
Flooded
cuánto
areas.
fue el daño del huracán.
Please mute your phone. Repetitively flooded areas such as those targeted for mandatory buyout create a significant safety hazard for both residents and emergency workers trying to rescue them. During Hurricane Harvey alone, there were 36 flood-related deaths. Over the 40 years of flooding that has been recorded, each program buyout area that has been selected for this program has flooded on average 12 times, with one area flooding up to 20 times. Harvey's cost to you in your area. For the areas that were selected by the buyout program, FEMA estimated $2.8 million in damage, but provided only $1.4 million in assistance to you and your neighbors. That's an average of just over $4,200 per buyout owner. Of the 336 applicants, 144 applicants received no assistance at all to help with their housing rehab. Only 2 received benefit. For flood insurance paid you and your neighbors $1 million in claims. That's an average of $3,100 per buyout owner. This is not enough to repair much of the damage in your neighborhoods. Next slide, please. Flood insurance costs continue to rise and are becoming the largest part of your housing costs. Josh, would you like to speak about the rising cost of flood insurance in our area?
Sure. Hey, folks, my name is Josh Stuckey. I am the interim director of Community Services Department. One of the things we do is obviously one of these programs, but in disaster recovery in general. I also serve as a co-chair of the National Association of Flood and Stormwater Management Agencies across the nation, and also serve as a voting member to committees that report to FEMA as a insurance program. What we're seeing out there is a huge change really since 2012 as it relates to flood insurance. One of the biggest changes really started in 2012 under the Bigger Waters Act, and that was to a huge push to move everything to actuarial rates, which are basically rates that are not subsidized at all. And they were really going after severe repetitive loss locations. That was backpedaled a little bit, but the impacts of it are going to be felt over time. They wanted to really do that over a 5-year period. Ultimately, it looks like it's going to be over more of a 10-year period, and you're going to see the full impacts of that in the next couple years. What that means to you is that anytime that you purchase flood insurance, which is going to be a requirement if you have a current mortgage to have flood insurance on your property, or if you own your home and you've received any federal assistance in the past, have to have flood insurance. What we're seeing on these actuarial rates and what's going to be coming out in the year 2021, and we are one of the regions that are earmarked to be the test bed for this, which is called Risk Rating 2.0, in which they basically say we're going to look at each structure individually and know more whether they're just in the floodplain or out of the floodplain. We're going to look at the depth that they are within that floodplain, and we're going to base our risk assessment on that. Those prices that are going to come out in higher than people's mortgage payments to maintain their insurance rates. Very, very high insurance rates are coming our direction. They're coming very fast. I think many of the people on this call have already experienced that when they go to renew their policies. So as these costs continue to go up, it's going to be unaffordable to get help from the insurance program. And if you don't have an insurance policy, and you have a flood event and you've already been helped before, the federal government can't help you. So as an example, Community Services, our group handles disaster recovery for HUD, and one of the programs we have is the reimbursement program. If you were to not have flood insurance and you were a member and you received benefits this last flood from a reimbursement program, and you did not maintain flood insurance or even any dollars from FEMA, individual assistance, any of those dollars that you received, and you did not maintain flood insurance after that, when the next storm happens, they're not going to come and help. There's no benefit. They're going to look up your address. They're going to, or even a previous flood, and they're going to say, you should have had flood insurance. A very, very expensive product. You should have had it. And if you didn't have it, then they're not going to provide any assistance whatsoever. So that is something that is looming very, very soon in our community.
Thank you, Josh. Sobering thought. Next slide, please. I would now like to introduce Kathy Phillips, the manager of the Post-Disaster Relocation Program, and how it will work. Kathy?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The buyout programs will help property owners, tenants, and businesses whose lives are in danger because of severe and repetitive floods and whose homes, property are in danger of future flooding. Harris County purchases property from owners and helps residents move to comparable housing and businesses reestablished in a safer area. Each property owner is given an eligibility specialist who will work with them one-on-one. Next slide, please. The buildings are demolished, the land is returned to a natural floodplain, changed into flood detention ponds, or turned into a public green space. The buyout programs support flood preparedness and resiliency by moving people who are in danger of life-threatening flooding. Why is this home and property? Well, every buyout area is dangerously deep within the floodplain. Many homes and businesses have been flooded multiple times in the past 10 years. Every property is highly likely to suffer severe flooding in the future. Homes and property selected for this program have met at least two of these criteria. They're in the floodway, which are areas where floodwater is likely to be the deepest and fastest and thus the most dangerous. In the 10-year floodplain, areas that have a 10% or greater chance of flooding every year, or over 2 foot deep in the 100-year floodplain, at least 2 feet of water every year. This graph depicts the chance of flooding per year. If you look at the graph, underneath where it says 10% chance, the dark blue is the main channel, and that's the area that has the 10% chance of flooding because they're in the 10-year flood area. The 1% chance is the 100-year flood, and then the 0.2% chance is the 500-year flood. We are looking at moving people that are in the 10% chance or the 1% chance, as in the 100-year flood area.
Hey, and this is Josh real quick. This is a great example of what used to happen for flood insurance. If you look at house number 1 or 2, house 1 and 2 used to have the same rate for what they would have to pay for insurance premiums. And house number 3 would be considered outside of the floodplain because the floodplain is defined by the 1% or 100-year flood event. People pay home number 3 and another rate, more expensive rate for home number 1 and 2. In the future, in the very near future, house number 1 and 2 are going to have different prices, and house number 1 is going to be much, much, much more expensive than house number 2, and house number 2's rate is also going to go up. Now, that is just by the map itself. However, if house number 1 and 2 is also, like many of your homes have, experienced numerous flooding events, that rate is even going to go higher for house number 1 and 2. So that's the big difference in the program moving forward.
Thank you, Josh. So what will happen to my property? After you have completely moved out of your home or the property, any building or structure will be demolished and removed. The property will be given in perpetuity to the Harris County Flood Control District and cannot be used for development. We want to stress that. It cannot be used for future development. The Harris County Flood Control District will convert the property into a natural floodplain, detention pond, or other flood control project. Some property may also be developed for multi-use green space like parks and trails. These projects reduce the risk and damage of future floods for everyone in Harris County. Properties subject to the buyout. This is our regional map that we are using, and we realize that it's hard to see, but we will go over in general where the areas are. On the far northwest part of the county is the West Adore project. It's a one parcel project. Then we have just north of Beltway 8 and Hardy Toll Road is the Greens. 8, we have Aldine Place. We have Hall Site, which is on the north side of the bayou. We have Allen Fields. On the west side of 45, we have Bluebell. And then also on the west side of Hardy Toll Road, we have Meadowview Land. Then on the east part of the county, on the San Jacinto River, we have the Highland Shores area. The eligibility requirements. You must be a legal occupant. To receive relocation benefits, you must be a U.S. citizen or legal resident. Property types to be acquired, all property in the identified areas, including homes, apartments, businesses, and vacant land. Case managers and relocation specialists will be assigned to each owner and tenant. One-on-one meetings with each owner and renter will be to discuss the program. Sorry, that sentence was off. Sorry. One-on-one meetings with each owner and renter will be held to discuss the program and the assistance available. These meetings, due to COVID, would be held initially virtually over the phone or on the computer. But should we need to, we will schedule in-person meetings. We will just observe the COVID restrictions that we currently have. A call center has been set up where owners and tenants can ask questions. We'll have virtual relocation fairs to provide advice from professionals and experts. We'll also have resource referrals to community services such as homebuyer counseling, real estate agents, lenders, legal services, and community aid. So, property offered pre-flood fair market value for their property. Owners who purchased their property post-flood will be offered current fair market value for their property. The property will be appraised by Harris County Engineering Department's Real Property Division's third-party appraisal firms. Owners will have the right to appeal this value. In buying out and relocating impacted property owners, the program will ensure that each participant exits the program where their mortgage debt for the relocation home no higher than the debt from their previous mortgage and any liens on their buyout home. It can't. You want to either maintain or improve your financial circumstance relative to your home debt. So we have a couple of examples for benefits. So if your home is paid off, the appraisal comes in at $140,000. We go find a comparable dwelling, and we find that the most comparable to your house would cost on the open market today at $180,000. So your relocation benefit would be $40,000. Now, if you buy the home for $180,000, you don't have an existing mortgage balance, your URA assistance or Uniform Relocation Act assistance is $40,000. And just to let people know, the Uniform Relocation Act is the federal law that dictates how we have to purchase your homes and provide you with relocation benefits. The second example, if you have an existing mortgage, say it's liens of $10,000, so your debt to buy out the home is $90,000. The appraisal again comes in at $140,000. We subtract that debt, so your net homeowner balance from the sale would be $50,000. You still have the $180,000 comparable housing cost, so we subtract out the proceeds from selling your home to the county, and you would need $130,000. So when we look at a new debt, you would have $90,000 in the new debt and then you would still have housing replacement assistance of $40,000. And in effect, it's a $90,000 debt is what you had to begin the program. You still would have a $90,000 debt after the program. Next slide, please. So if you have a mortgage for a low value home, say your mortgage balance is $20,000, you have liens of $10,000, and the debt is $30,000. Our offer is $70,000 less $1,000 would be a balance of $40,000. Find a new replacement house that is similar to what you have and comparable. It's $130,000. We subtract out the $40,000 from the proceeds of the sale. We would need $90,000 to purchase the new home. We add back in the $30,000 of a mortgage, then our housing replacement assistance would be $60,000. This shows the variations depending on what the comparable property is to your individual property and your debt. Next slide, please. Relocation assistance is going to be provided to each person. The relocation assistance and payment include helping with locating a new house, referring you to advisory services like legal, real estate professionals, payments for moving and related expenses, business reestablishment services, rental assistance payment, and down. If you are currently renting your dwelling, you can convert that to a down payment assistance. So we could look at having a tenant get into actual home ownership, and that's one of the benefits of the program. Financial assistance is available for replacement housing. If a comparable replacement housing is more expensive than the original property, additional funding will be available. So what is comparable housing? It's functionally equivalent to your current home. If you have a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, we would look for a replacement 3-bedroom, 2-bath. It has structurally sound, weather tight and in good repair, hot and cold running water, connections for a stove, refrigerator, and sewage, and adequate space for you and your family. Property must be available to buy or rent. You have reasonable access to your job, easy access to schools and shopping, accessibility for wheelchair, walker, etc. if necessary, and is an area of reduced flood risk. For businesses, we'll have a relocation specialist work with you to move and at a reestablishment assistance includes businesses are entitled to actual and reasonable move and related expenses or a fixed payment not to exceed $40,000. For reestablishment costs, they cannot exceed $25,000, and then we also have reasonable search cost. For business, examples of benefits include moving expenses for your current inventory and providing new marketing materials with the new address. For renters, you're eligible for relocation assistance and payments including rental assistance payments, down payment assistance if choosing to purchase instead of renting, as we mentioned, moving and related expenses, advisor, and you will be provided your own relocation specialist. For legal rights for renters, the community resource referrals will be available to assist you with maintaining your tenant rights and legal and additional unmet needs that are not provided under the program. So this is a flow chart of how the process will work. We're having our town hall meetings currently. A general information notice, what's called a GIN, has been mailed out to the area people in the buyout area. We are sending out letters requesting meetings one-on-one with our eligibility specialist, and we're to gather documentation from you. Once that is completed, then we will order appraisals. We will develop an offer, and that is submitted to the GLO for preliminary approval. Reserve the funds to ensure we have the funding for the program. The offer is then made to the owner. Excuse me, if you could mute your phone, thank you. The offer is made to the owner, and they have the choice to either accept the offer, which we would sign a contract and go to closing, or if they want to, they can provide a counteroffer, and there's negotiation. If the counteroffer is rejected, then unfortunately it would have to go through what's called eminent domain and go to litigation. Then at that point, it would go to closing, whether we sign a contract or go to litigation, and then we would disperse funds, and then we would demolish the buildings on the property and return it to green space. For the buyout home, the county is beginning immediately to meet with the homeowners to gather documentation. Plans are to have made offers to all owners by 2020. The owner has 30 days from receipt of the offer to accept or reject the offer. If accepted, the owner has a minimum, and this is where I need to clarify, the owner has a minimum of 90 days from acceptance date to move out of the buyout home. The owners will have up to 18 months after the buyout home settlement to close on the relocation home. If you choose to move to temporary lodging before getting the relocation home or the replacement home, the housing cost would be at your own expense. The program will pay up to 12 months of storage for personal property. The program will also pay moving expenses for only one time, so we would not pay multiple times. Relocation expenses are generally reimbursed, but advance payments may be made on a case-by-case basis. So what are the next steps? You'll receive a general information notice in the mail. Please note we use the address that is on the Harris County Appraisal District for is where the tax notices are sent, and that is the address we are using for our notices. Your case manager will contact you directly to discuss the program. Harris County will hold digital relocation fairs where you can get advice and help from professionals and experts. We ask you to sign up to receive regular email updates and communication at www.harrisrecovery.org.
All right. So for questions or comments, it is a little bit easier to do this as a group if people will type in their questions in the chat. So I know some of you are operating off your phone, and that might be a little bit difficult. All right, our first question that came in is, what is the difference in a new home over $100,000? Will you offer that to everyone? Trying to interpret that question. What is the difference if a new home is over 100,000? Will you offer that to everyone? As explained in the program, our offer will be based off of the pre-flood value. And then if we go and look at comparables in the market where you want to move to, at that point, your offer will be based off of those comparables. So everyone will have the opportunity based off of a comparable home to their pre-market value. As an example, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, if that's what you have right now, we look for a comparable in that area. If there's a gap there, in order to find that, then program you will be offered that, and that should be for everyone. All right, the next question, are the down payment assistance and relocation benefits income-based? Yes, for down payment assistance, the relocation benefits are not income-based in general. There are other programs you could potentially qualify for, and one of those programs that is income-based you could potentially qualify for would be the down payment assistance program, which is a separate program from this program. But if we're having trouble with the down payment, we could provides some assistance there through one of our other programs. So they're separate programs. What is the effective date? This is another question. What is the effective date we need to use for our independent appraisal. Do I have Lori on the line or anyone from Real Property that can help me with that question? The question is, what is the effective date? If they want to use an independent appraisal, what's the effective date they need to use?
I don't have a specific date that I've been told that we're using it. It will be pre-Harvey, so that would probably be a late August 2017 date would be my estimate at this time.
Okay. All right.
Oh, sorry. I'm getting a note of August 25th, 2017 will be the date.
August 25th, 2017. Thank you.
Yes.
All right. How will vacant lots be handled? Vacant lots will be handled the exact same way, except, it will be pre-market value or pre-disaster value. As far as the replacement home, obviously that wasn't your residence at that time, so you would just be paid for that vacant lot at the pre-disaster value. Anyone want to add anything to that? Okay.
It was a good explanation. That is
Okay.
That is good.
All right. The next question: what if the doesn't have a legal status? Will they have the same benefits? Do you want to hit on that?
I can take that, Josh. What happens is based on federal guidelines, whether the person has mixed status or not, the county will pay for the land and the dwelling on the property, whether they have a mixed status or not. It's when it's the relocation benefits that we have an issue. And so what we do is we are allowed to prorate the relocation benefits based on the number of people in the household who have legal or mixed status. If there are 5 people in the household and 2 of them have mixed status, we would pay 3/5 of the relocation benefits to them. So with you, because we're going to have to move you out, so we would still work with you to help you move. It's just how much will we pay to move you, and we've already been talking to some nonprofit agencies that have indicated they would have come forward and have a willingness to help in that situation.
Thank you. As far as the PowerPoint, where's this PowerPoint going to be at so people can get to it?
The PowerPoint is going to be posted online at harrisrecovery.org. Shortly after this meeting ends, we'll get it posted online. Okay.
Michelle has a great question here. Also, the question is, the language in the letter is vague. It says, quote unquote, may be impacted by the program. How do we know if we're really impacted and must move?
The initial letters did say may, and as we go through this process, the general information notice indicate that yes, you are in the buyout area, and then subsequent notices also say that you are your property has been included in the buyout area. So it does change from may to have or will be in the proposed program.
Yeah, so if
it does change.
If you take a look at the phone number there that's on your screen, 832-927-4961, or the email address, rebuildharris@csd.hctx.net, you can provide us with your specific information, your address, and those things, and we can also confirm and clarify for you as well. All right. Are any of the assistants taxable? So if they got a benefit in excess of their value of their home in order to move to a comparable home, is that taxable?
While I am not a don't claim to be, There is in the IRS code, there is a portion that says it is not taxable, and it is, and that information is included in the brochures that we have provided with our general information notice. We always say check with your tax preparer. If you do it yourself, we would help provide you with that citation in the IRS tax code. As I said, we're not at CPAs.
Understood. So, but in general, that's how it's
yeah,
worked.
yeah. Okay. There is part of it that's not taxable.
All right, Dolores Mendoza, follow-up question. I assume it's towards the down payment assistance program. Income-based, meaning we make too much money to qualify. Is it only for low-income residents? Yes, down payment assistance programs are, but not the buyout program and the benefits that you would potentially receive and qualify for as it relates to the buyout program. It's just if you need additional assistance outside of the buyout program to get you into a new home, or as the program, you are financially equal or better off than you were prior to the program. All right, next question. Will the program move existing house? That's an interesting question. If the home is a mobile home or is able to be moved, does the program do that?
That's Christy, I'm going to defer to you.
For mobile homes, and if it can be moved, we can have an inspector go out and confirm its suitability for a move. For houses themselves, we will have to determine that on a case-by-case basis. And once again, our inspector would need to verify that the house could be moved at a pricing that is within the realm of the program. So case-by-case basis.
Okay. All right. Will you, let's see the next one. Will the help be for homesteads or multiple homes owned? Think of it more like you have multiple homes in there at one location. It will be based on the, so let's say you have 3 lots, 3 homes. Yes, it will be on all 3 of those. We would be buying out all 3 of those properties. Again, the intent is to make sure that the land is never utilized for for residential or commercial or anything like that. Again, it goes back to green space. So that's the intent. It's a life and safety program. We want to make sure that people aren't impacted by flood anymore. So yes, anything that's in there, as long as you can prove ownership of the multiple homes, it's fine. Yes, the Spanish meeting. When will the Spanish meeting be held?
We are looking at doing a Spanish meeting in the next 2 to 3 weeks. We're still working out a couple of details before we solidify that date, but it's coming very quickly.
All right. And where can they get information of when it's going to be once we do have that date?
We will continue to post that information on our website at harrisrecovery.org. They can also call the number, the call center number, or email the email information that's on the screen. And we will be sending out invitations to all the people that we have addresses and now emails for.
Wonderful. Thank you.
I'm not able to chat on my cell phone. Can I raise a question?
Yeah. You already talked.
Thank you, sir. I own the mobile home park, and we have about 210 mobile homes, mostly owned. Mostly, can I speak? Hello?
Yeah, yes, sir. We hear you, Eli.
Yes. Mostly owned by the people themselves. We own other mobile home parks in Houston and San Antonio. Knowing the situation, there is no place to relocate the mobile home. So the situation is, if the Harris County was able to build another mobile home park in order to relocate them all, that's number one. And number two, the question is, the Greens Road mobile home community last 3 extreme events: Harvey, Memorial Flood, and Tax Flood. None of the homes in the mobile home has been forced to move. Since Harris County built the detention from JFK all the way to Harvey, the mobile home park was Hello? Hello? Hello?
Yeah, there. Can you please? Can everyone please go on mute, except for Eli?
Yeah. So the mobile home was not flooded at all. So it's very difficult to count to 202 people that don't have place to relocate and to tell them that their homes has been flooded and nobody asked for any FEMA help. The home was not flooded. They didn't need to relocate. And they don't have another mobile home park in Houston to accommodate 210 people. So I really suggest when we will meet one-on-one, we can discuss this situation before running full force and to continue to eminent domain.
Okay. So Eli, thank you very much for your questions. I'm going to hit the second question first, which is they didn't flood in these events. Even if they didn't flood, the problem is that the ability to access these locations due to the flood waters and could create a safety issue for first responders without a doubt. Also, you basically get placed on an island out there. I've seen these locations, including your location, where it's almost impossible to reach due to the high flood water surrounding it. So we'll have those individual discussions about those locations. Also, that's why we have a great team of a mobile home park that they go back to as a tenant. That's why part of our program is also building affordable rental and multifamily capabilities throughout the county as well. So we'll talk about the individual situation when we talk with you specifically about your mobile home park. Okay. All right.
Hello.
Hold on one second. Let me keep going to the questions that have been typed in. We'll get right to you. Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Josh, let me go ahead and address Mr. Eneo's question. He's in the Hall site south of the Bayou. Mr. Eneo, we have forwarded your information to the contact you for their voluntary buyout program. So we are working on your project, your property in particular. But if anybody is a caller on this town hall, if you're not located in one of the post-disaster relocation and buyout program buyout areas, we do have a voluntary program that we can refer you to because we do not have one currently.
All right. The next question is, will the recent judge's order to block Harvey programs affect this buyout? That's a great question. So if you saw the news, a judge out of Austin blocked the general land office's ability to immediately take away programs from the city of Houston program. This is a Harris County program. So we have a little bit of a difference happening there, and we're kind of we're looking. We actually have a meeting tomorrow to discuss if there is any impact on that, because we are on the same amendment together with the city of Houston. But right now, as it stands, it does not look like that judge's order will have any impact on Harris County's Harvey programs or buyout programs. More to follow on that, but we don't see this being an impact at all. All right. What will happen if we get flooded again this hurricane season? If you get flooded again this hurricane season, it's more than anything else another tragedy that's happened, but secondly, it's another indicator that we need to continue with the buyout program. It's just more proof there. Again, the worst case here also is if you get flooded again, destruction of your property is back to what I was saying about flood insurance. Flood insurance is going to an actuarial rate, meaning the real rate, no subsidies whatsoever for anyone who's severe repetitive loss. And that would probably add more people in your area to the severe repetitive loss category, hence increasing your premiums for your flood insurance. And if you were to have had have had assistance during Harvey and you did not continue to purchase flood insurance after that assistance, the ability for these other programs to come in and help you is very limited, if anything at all, based on federal law.
Hello?
Yes, we hear you. I can hear you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Alberto Delgado, and I'm here on behalf of some of the people in Kingwood, because most of these families don't have access or less understanding of the situation. I will start by saying that I've been doing some research, and in my investigation, trying to get answers or combining one or two together of the situation. First of all, I understand that each Harris County, but then again, they should all somehow be tied together. Okay, now in my investigation, I went to Harris County Permits and got some information, which they confirmed to some questions that do not coordinate with your organization. Also, I have been to your office, or should I say location of use, because your organization does not have an actual establishment, from my understanding. Using of the Project Recovery Program, which has nothing to do with this buyout program, because the information I obtained currently states that this Office of Recovery only deals with helping those recover from damage or property or debris from disasters, not buying out areas. I also obtained that your organization is barely starting, that in the office, I was informed that they do not know what was going on with this buyout. To my understanding, let's say, for example, if I was going to a battle, and I would inform and lay out the plan to all my colleagues before sending them to the unknown, right? So in this case, they should know or be able to answer most of these people's questions. If not, then that would be unprofessional for an organization, as y'all make it sound, because this is a big deal. Okay, and now y'all said that y'all would help these families find and move to a home equal or similar to what they are already own or have, if and only that house or apartment is for sale or on the market for rent. Okay, now if these families do decide to sell, how would that work if now the letters received are stating different? Now it says that they have to pay for the moving or set up payments for this move. Why don't y'all pay these fees if y'all are the ones wanting to kick these people out from where they don't have to pay a dime, or we're not planning to go anywhere? Also, now it states that once closing this deal, that owner will receive the full payment and not go straight to that house that was offered to them. Now, you know that anywhere, if you want to buy or rent a house or an apartment, there's a process to be made, okay? First of all, you must have good credit. You must be working at a job for more than a certain amount of years and be making a decent amount per month to even qualify. On top of that, you have to get insurance to obtain the house. Most people right now are out of jobs due to this coronavirus. How would you get approved for a house if you need a job to get approved? If not, there's no house. What then? You already closed the deal. That family got their money. You've cleared your hands. Family doesn't get that home. Then what? When they have a home, and had no worries, what are they going to do now?
All right, thanks, Alberto. You know, you brought up some interesting points as to, you know, and this is why we have these town hall meetings to clear up some of the misconceptions of the program. I will say, you know, the first thing you brought up as far as haven't been talking to the permits, things like that. Yes, we have a regular meeting with the permit office also. In fact, in my position right now, as the director of this, I used to be the manager of the permit office, the Harris County's building official and floodplain administrator. So I make sure that we are highly connected to them. As far as where our offices are, these offices are real. I have three different locations we operate out of, but we've met with numerous constituents here, but I think it's one. Christy, our address for our office.
It's 13105 Northwest Freeway. It's across the street from the Harris County Appraisal District offices.
Yeah.
Our suite is 400, so we're on the fourth floor.
Yeah, and you know, our employees, if you did come here and ask questions to our employees about this program, you are absolutely correct. This program is just starting as being part of our disaster recovery. Could you go on? Could everyone go on mute, please? Thank you. Okay. So no, I mean that, you know, giving people money home and washing our hands of it, that's absolutely not what we're going to do. Our job is to make sure that we assist people with relocation, and that's part of our program as well, and that they are financially better off or equal or better off. We cannot go the opposite direction. That would never be our intent, number one, but it's not even allowed by the law. So I'm sorry that you've had those misconceptions. The main thing that I would recommend you do, Alberto, is email us at rebuildharris@csd.hctx.net so we can clear up any other questions that you have and hit all your questions. But no, our absolute intent is to make the situation safer for the community and to make sure financially everyone is equal or better off than they were prior. We are aware on a one-on-one basis there's going to be lots of different challenges that we work through with the individuals as it relates to credit, all those other things, but we are not going somebody's ability to in our community. That is not the intent of the program at all.
Okay, thank you. I have one more question.
Okay,
Can
go
I
ahead.
add one more question?
My question for you is, why is Harris County selling permits to build houses in an area where Harris County already knows that they're going to have a buyout of the area?
Yeah, because you cannot, until we make an offer in an area, it would be improper of the county to prohibit anyone from doing anything that they are legally allowed to do because we have an intent to buy later on. That would be there's a term for it in the condemnation proceedings, but basically you would be taking away someone's use of their land before you have a valid offer on the table. Stop someone who wants to do something on their property, even though we have an intent to go out there and purchase it. It's, you know, that's obviously why our urgency of having these town hall meetings and getting the letters out and the emails out as fast as possible is so people understand what their situation is, and that improving further on the property would make no sense if we're coming in and purchasing it.
Because that's what's been happening, and it's been bothering all the neighbors about that.
Understood.
So, thank you very much for your answers, and
no problem.
Can I ask one more question? Can I ask one more question, please?
Go ahead, Eli. just real quick, but I want to get back to the ones.
Just quick. Would you please consider and check? It will help everybody in general if Harris County will allow to build accommodate the 220 people. In a year, this mobile home can be there. You can relocate all the people. You can work with the owner, which is me. And I think this is something that can be discussed on one-on-one, and to find the land in the area someplace there that can accommodate the whole situation and would be cheaper for everybody.
Thank you very
I
much.
just wanted to think about it.
No, absolutely, absolutely, and definitely appreciate that. And we look forward to talking to you, Eli, just to see if you are. I don't know if you're doing an expansion development anywhere or not. So.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, no problem.
About the permit process, if that you're saying they can't stop by giving permits, but if it's a mandatory buyout, why are they're taking our money and we have to sell?
Okay. As far as that, the individuals that work at the permit office that are reviewing those plans may not have knowledge as to where exactly the buyout areas of interest or programs are at on a lot by lot basis. What we can do, it's a great point. What we can do on our side is we can make sure that we can give them the shape files so that they have that. So instead of prohibiting you, they can at least make you aware as to that's where those locations are. So thank you for that comment. We will make sure that that information gets there. Christy, can you make sure that the shape files between flood control and us get to John Stiber and the permit office?
Will do.
All right.
Can I ask a question?
Let me get back to some of the ones that people have been waiting on the chat, and then I'll take questions on the line.
That's a question.
All right. Yeah.
Hello? I have a question.
Ms. Delgado, can I please let me get back to you in just a second, Ms. Delgado. I want to get to some of the ones that people have been waiting in the queue. Okay. All right. Should buyout owners be looking for new property? What are your thoughts on that, Kathy?
At this point, yeah, they can, but at this point, if it's available on the market, it may not be available at the time we make our offer. So if they have a general idea where they would like to move, we can do that, but we're still very early stages. So what may be on the market today may not be on the market tomorrow or a month from now. And so what we would encourage them to do is at least look and see what area they would like to move to, so that when their relocation agent does talk to them, that helps them get a ballpark of where we need to look for a property for them.
All right. Okay, I already answered the multiple homestead question or multiple homes. All right, another question. This is a great one. How can I make the process for my property move faster? I want to take advantage of whatever is available right away. I would like to move out ASAP. Okay, Carlos, look at the email address that's up there right now, rebuildharris@csd.hctx.net, and the phone number as well is 832-927-4961. Let us know that we can already start some of this process and at least get some of the paperwork together and get you in the queue as quickly as possible. I assume from our last conversation we had on this town hall meeting a few days back, we've had lots of people already start sending us information. All right. Okay, will you be returning phone calls and emails in regards to clarification? I tried contacting that process of trying to build. Yes, we will. And this is from Diaz. Chrissy, can we make sure that we've contacted everyone no later than by close of business on Friday to make sure that we've got an individual assigned to the people that have questions and clarifications. Christy. Okay, thank you. Okay, here's another good one. What about people who are disabled and HCAD with a homestead? How are the benefits? Okay. When you get to your new home, you would get with HCAD and transfer your homestead to that new location, and also your disabilities with HCAD. So you just register with them. It'd be exact same if you were just buying another house through a normal process. All right, so the next one is about bad credit and won't qualify for a loan due to credit. Will there be ways to get qualified for a home loan due to this situation? Kathy, you want to talk about that?
Yes, thank you, Josh. What we will do for folks that have bad credit or won't qualify for a loan, we would work with a mortgage company. There are agencies out there that help you repair your credit if possible. So we would help you with those resources. If maybe you're a veteran and could qualify for a loan that way, but would have to look at it on a one-on-one basis and just get you with somebody that could help you with your credit situation. There may be situations where you may not be able to purchase a home, and we will do what we can to help you. And it may be that you have to go to a rental situation. I do know we've helped folks in the past who had bad credit, and what we ended up doing was we paid the rent for the property directly to the landlord, so that you were guaranteed housing for a certain period. But it is definitely a case-by-case basis.
Okay. All right, we hit that question. Let's see here. We hit both of those. Will the time for public comment be extended to a virtual town hall so the Spanish residents can participate in public comment? Yes. We are continuing even during this process. Our intent is to make sure that the program matches what the community, what's best for the community. We even got some examples from all of our town hall meetings where we've continued to modify the program to help folks out. So we intend to continue to take public comment. And not only that, when things occur on the one-on-ones, that might benefit the whole program, we will also make adjustments there. All right. Okay, it says Allen Field area. Why are the drilling companies in our neighborhood not part of the buyout? Is the drilling they have been doing for almost 40 years causing the flooding here? Has that been assessed? I'm not aware of the Allen Field drilling companies, but thank you for the question. We'll look into that, but they should be, if their property is within that buyout area, that is part of it. We are doing commercial and residential buyout.
And we can see them on the map. They are included in the buyout area, probably for phase 2 commercial.
Okay, got it.
Can I ask a question now?
Just one second. I'm going to go through these first before we get to everyone else. And Ms. Delgado would be next. All right. Will the appraised value be the same if we get flooded again this year? You are under the Harvey mandatory buyout program, so yes, it would be pre-flood value. Okay, property tax question. If we are not moved out by January 21st, are the residents still mandated to pay property tax in this area? Yes, you will be mandated to pay property taxes. I don't see anyone being bought out by January 2021 and finalizing the process. We'll be getting there and providing offers. But yes, taxes will be due when they are due. Anyone want to add to that? All right. All right. Dolores Mendoza, just a comment. Dolores Mendoza is in the back of Kenwood area for Alberto Delgado. She would like to link up with you and talk about this process also. So just a message to from Dolores Mendoza to Albert Delgado by the Bayou. My parents are disabled and only get $600 a month deposited. How can they qualify for CF? What is, anybody want to interpret what CF is?
Credit financing?
I meant credit.
Okay.
I meant credit.
Got it. That will be on a, we'll do the assessment one by one and see what we can do on that. Do they own the home right now?
Yes, they do. They own 2 homes actually.
Okay. All right. Well, it's possible that, maybe credit financing won't be a big part of their relocation, and that might help a little bit on that. But we'll do it. We'll do it on a case by case when we get a case manager assigned to that exact situation.
You.
Resident property is going to be bought out. They should at least inform the residents their property is going to be bought out. Dolores, absolutely. We're doing everything we can to get the word out and make sure that the word is pinpointed to not create any type of confusion, and continue to have these meetings like this. And we will have one in Spanish as well. Let's see here. Why does the Gen packet still say proposed? Is this mandatory? The proposed project has more to do with the language also that we discussed in saying may, right? As we define these exact areas in the exact lots, in the event that someone got until we start doing the one-on-ones, having the official letters to everyone as it relates to their specific property, we wanted to make sure that no one got misinformation, that they would be bought out. But again, we will be sending out additional information on this for the specific properties. If you received our letter, it's a 99.9% chance, yes, you're in that buyout area of interest, but for that 0.01%, we didn't want to create any misinformation. As far as proposed project, we're still going through the process of getting the final funding for this. All right.
Hello. Joshua, I have a question.
All right, go ahead, Ms. Delgado. I've left you on hold long enough.
I am with a group of people, and they have several questions. Some of them are with not legal status, and they understand that they don't have the rights as the residents or citizens. But they want to know if they will give the fair price of the property.
Absolutely. We have to, regardless of status. We absolutely have to.
I couldn't hear that.
Yes, absolutely. We have to as a part of the program, regardless of their status.
I'm sorry. Hello?
Can anyone hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Yes, the answer to your question is yes.
Okay. Like Mr. Alberto was stating that you guys are painting a pretty picture. And I do know that the past you might don't have or are not responsible for what had happened in the past. But after speaking to several neighbors in the area, they have stated that they have had very bad experiences. You guys, pointed at you, but with the company or the organization that you guys represent.
Which organization?
One of them, which is Harris County.
Okay.
Several people have stated that you have promised the same thing that you're doing it right now. You're painting a very good picture. You're going to help us, blah, blah, blah. But at the end, you just want to give us nothing for our properties, like nothing. On top of that, you offer that you're going to help us. People were willing to work with you. They went and looked for another house, and at the end of it, they move out and they were left out with a bunch of debts, money that they're not able to pay. Most of the people in the area, the houses are being paid. Everything is we're debt free, and that's what we don't want. We don't want to go to a place that we're gonna have to start being depressed, and some people having lost their life because of what you guys are doing. And I understand that you guys are trying, but you have in writing. One of the things that you stated that you were going to send the letters in English and Spanish, and that did not happen.
Yes, we did send the letters in Spanish as well.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, my neighbor received the yellow envelope. I have not received it as of today. My neighbor received it in English only, and she did not receive it in English and Spanish. So that's a thing that you're already failing. You are not being proactive, or you're not working the way that you are.
Hold on right there, just real quick. Address that, English and Spanish?
Yes, I think that she is possibly talking about the general information notice. The general information notice also included a great deal of brochures and information that we're required to provide. So on the general information notice itself, it began with a paragraph in Spanish that says, we can provide all of this information to you in Spanish if you need, and we gave them the number. And then the rest of that letter was in English.
Okay, well,
all those materials combined would have been about 50 pages, I think.
Well, I hear what you say, but that is negative, Joshua. My neighbor did not receive it in Spanish, and that's a fact. Another question.
Provide it.
I'm sorry?
We can provide it in Spanish. We asked people if they needed it in Spanish to get in touch with us.
Well, you guys never answered the telephone. And you said we call. It says leave a message. Within 48 hours, we call you back. It's a week later. I'm waiting for you guys to call.
Okay.
So
I can confirm that information that Fabiola is saying as well. That Spanish is not being passed around.
Well, it is not the way that you are painting it. It is not happening. I'm telling you that right now.
Well, so, I'll tell you what, I want to do it better. So listen, Ms. Delgado, if you could please email directly to that rebuildharris@csd.hctx.net. Give us your phone number. I want to have my staff talk with you and make it better.
Okay, well, thank you. You know, for me, I am okay. But I'm speaking for the rest of my neighbors. I have 10 people right here that we united.
Absolutely, and we need your help just as much as anything else, because you're right there, boots on the ground, talking with the people, and that's the information we need. So please email that. I'll make sure my staff, when we get your email and your information, we call you. I'll have my PIO call you directly to make sure that we've got the right information to the right people. Okay.
Okay. One of the ladies that I have here is a neighbor, and she has a question. She said the land, she has the mobile home placed already on her property. She's paying the loan. She's not the owner as of yet. How that situation will be handled?
Yeah, so it's the same as we would do, obviously case by case basis, and have someone look at what their situation is. None of these are going to be just exactly yes, no situations across the board.
Okay.
Es completamente confirmado que nos vamos.
Okay, otra pregunta. I'm sorry. Another question. Is it 100% confirmed that this is a done deal? We have to leave? There is an option?
Well, I gotta be to be careful here. I don't know who you're talking with and what their address is. So I want to make sure that, again, that when we talk to everyone on a case, if you are selected as the mandatory buyout program, that area has to be bought out. Yes, it would be mandatory for life and safety reasons. And again, I'll reiterate to you that it's also financially something that needs to happen very soon, because as flood insurance prices go up, we're going to, and if you're going to be mandatory purchase of flood insurance because you received any type of federal aid whatsoever, you're going to be in a situation where your home could be destroyed again, but there's no one there that can help you.
Well, let me tell you, FEMA hasn't given me any money, not myself, for the past year. So I have my own insurance. So I'm okay with that. But my question, I'm asking the questions for the neighbors. So it is 100% on deal, meaning all the signatures from the people above, besides you guys, has been approved that this is a done deal. It's 100%.
Christy, you want to address that?
Yes. Your current public review process, once that is complete, the GLO has given us tentative approval, conditional approval pending the completion of our public review process. We will submit all of our documents, your comments included. Every question that's been answered here will be included in that document and provided to the GLO for formal approval.
Okay. So it is a done deal, I guess that's what you said. Who is approving all these projects besides the county? Is it FEMA included? Is the city of Houston? Is Hilda Hidalgo informed of this? The mayor of Houston? Who is involved in this? Can you please tell me so we can? We just want to be treated fairly.
Absolutely.
Because I do know, guys, that you guys are put your eyes on this neighborhood for whatever reason, and it is true that it does flood, but I want you guys to, because you would not, people in Kingwood who are billionaires are going to treat us a different way. So that's why I'm just asking, are we going to be treated fairly? And some people are not speaking the language, but I'm speaking for them. So I just want to know who is approving all this, because we need to make sure that whatever you guys are doing is the right thing and is the fair thing for most of us.
Yeah, absolutely. So the approval process would go to the General Land Office to do the final approval, and the program is managed underneath underneath HUD. So it goes HUD, GLO, Harris County.
Oh, GLO?
Yes, General Land Office.
Oh.
So
where is
one
the
more
money
question.
coming
When
from?
is the commissioner court? The commissioner court, when it is going to discuss?
Commissioner's Court, we will have the guidelines that we are adjusting based on these conversations. The guidelines go to court on July 28th, Tuesday.
So maybe the people need to know this also. If it's the case, there is not too much time next week. If you tell everybody July 28th, yeah, that's important to know. I don't know who's.
Absolutely.
Joshua, can you also tell us where is the money coming from and who's paying for all this? Because, you know, I really do have a bad taste because of what I heard my neighbors. I've been living here for a long time, my mother as well. And like Mr. Alberto stated, there is people here who are retired. They are not working any longer. And, you know, we are not willing to go and get a debt as economy is. And you guys are doing it this during coronavirus, which right now, you know, we are risking to get together to help other people. But so have you guys taken this into consideration? Are we going to be paying? Are you guys going to recompense all the inconvenience that you are creating to all of us? Because it's not an easy thing just to find another place and go. You know, we know the neighbors right now, crime is high. We don't know who we're going to move into. So it's not an easy task. It's not an easy step. This is our livelihood. So I just want you guys to take into consideration, and please let me know how fair are we going to be treated, because I know you guys are not going to go to Kingwood area and treat them any kind of way.
Yes, sir. 'Cause we are a like for myself, my children are 6th generation in this neighborhood, as far as I know, and it could possibly go further back than that. So we know all of our neighbors. We grew up here, and everybody here has watched my children grow up, as well as my great grandparents, the Gonzaleses. So we're just, we just want clarification and make sure we're treated.
Absolutely. The intent of this program is to treat everyone absolutely fairly.
Hello.
This I ask you a question now?
Let me get back to the chat questions people have been waiting on real quick, and then we'll get back to some of the conversation. Okay. Will there be an effort to find relocation for families who currently live near each other? Christy or anyone want to handle that question?
Which one is it?
Will there be an effort to find relocation for families who currently live near each other?
Yes. So we will be assigning a relocation specialist to every family that goes through the buyout program to not only assist you with any concerns you may have about the program, but also to help you locate a neighborhood either nearby or wherever you would like to go. Housing choice is something that we're very much interested in. If it is that you and your neighbors would like to relocate in a similar neighborhood, again, we can help facilitate, introduce you to lenders, real estate agents that might help to process this. Our goal, as Josh said before, and as the presentation talked about, is to assist you to find the best choice for you in your relocation. Our intent is not to overburden you with extra debt or anything like that, but to maybe even reduce your debt and help you, because interest rates are actually very good right now, to burden of it was that we weren't going to be providing costs for moving, and we are going to be covering costs for moving. We are going to be helping with storage. We will pay for that. So I just want to put it out there that we are trying to wrap as many services around you as possible to help you, regardless of your neighborhood. If you are a high income, a middle income neighborhood, we will wrap as much care around you as you will allow us.
All right, thank you.
Hello.
All right. The general thing is a statement here is they believe, Manny Rodriguez believes that the buyout formula puts people in an area that has a history of over 50 years of repeated flooding like Kenwood in a significant disadvantage because the appraisal will give the property a low value, diminishing returns where no in their right mind wants to live. So it puts them at a significant disadvantage to move to a better area with a higher house value / price. All right. If we could, the program manager talk about that, how the prices are done.
And what we're looking at is the appraised value is pre-Harvey value. In general, it is considered to be a higher value than post-Harvey. But we would look at each house individually as far as each land is separate. Yes, it's a low income area. We understand that. We understand that it's flooded multiple times.
But Kathy, if you could hit on the difference between if they go out and find 3 homes that are equal. Right. Okay, hit on that.
Right. So how the appraisal works is we have an independent appraiser. He will go out into the local market and he will find comparable houses that recently on the market to help establish the value of your pre-storm property, the pre-storm value. That appraisal then is, he will pick the most comparable property and say your value is this amount. It is not the same as the amount that's in the appraisal district amount. So when you get your tax bill, it says there's a value. It's not the same value as that. They use a different methodology in their appraisal process.
Kathy, can you go over the relocation?
Right. The house. So we have the appraisal.
So Kathy, I want to give an example.
All right.
So let's say for some horrible reason, their home is appraised at $20,000, and
Right.
the only home they can move into that's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath is $150,000. How does that work for them?
Okay, so what happens is if the only house available on the market is in fact 100,000, 150,000, whatever the amount is, we then have to pay them what's called a replacement housing payment. It's the difference between the appraised value of their house and what the cost of the most comparable to their house is that's open on the open market. In the case of where a person is a low to moderate income, then we look at what 30% of their income is. Say they have to get a mortgage, and the amount of the mortgage payment is more than 30% of their income, then we have what's called a gap amount that we would pay. So we would pay the amount for the replacement housing payment, plus, if necessary, a gap amount to help them pay no more than 30% of their income for a housing payment. So yes, there is possible that you would be moving into another area with a higher housing cost. However, we do have the benefits available to help you pay no more than 30% of your income if you're low to moderate income. Does that answer your question?
Yes. All right. Will replacement homes meet new building requirements for the handicap?
What would happen is the replacement home would be what's most comparable. But if you are handicapped and you need a ramp to access your property, or you need grab bars in the shower or something similar to that, we do have fund relocation that would help make that house decent, safe, and sanitary for a handicapped individual. So if we do need to add a ramp to the house, then that's what we would look at doing. It is part of the relocation benefit program to make those reasonable improvements.
All right, thank you. We've already hit on that question. Okay, go ahead.
Just to clarify, there is a question about if the current homeowner is forced to accept rental assistance based on the credit score. Is that correct? That's not what I meant. Is that if somebody does have bad credit and they can't get a mortgage, we will do everything we can to help you get into your replacement housing. All we're saying is that if there's something, we're going to find a way to get you into new housing. That's what we're going to do. We just have to look one-on-one. What is the credit issues? Can we help resolve those? And what funds can we, or what assistance we can help you to get into the replacement housing? And like I said, sometimes if you can't get a loan, where are you going to go? And hopefully we could get you into a home where you don't have a mortgage, and you can if you don't have one now, you wouldn't have one in the end after the project.
All right. Dolores has another statement here. It's unacceptable to go from a home paid off to a rental home for a specific amount of time. What will happen when that time runs out? I'm not clear on the question.
I think that goes back to where I said that if you don't have the credit, you'd have to go, may have to go to a rental. And that's where I missed, like I said, I clarified. If your home is paid off, we're going to try to get you into a home that is also paid off. That's the best we can do. So like I said, it's got to be case by case.
Okay. All right. Okay, that's a statement. All right. What in the world are you doing having a mandatory buyout program during COVID-19 where people are losing jobs, getting sick, etc. I will say that during this program, we will take all precautions as it relates to COVID-19 and ensuring that we do it in the safest way possible. This program, like other programs, are also considered essential operations in disaster recovery, because if you think trying to move people in the middle of a pandemic is bad, what about trying to save people that have flooded again in the middle of a pandemic? And you have to keep it in that perspective of continuing to have to do swift water rescues, continuing to have to tear everyone's houses out. Wasn't very long ago that everyone remembers pulling everything out of their house and putting it on the curb, because that in a pandemic is definitely more detrimental to public health and safety. Great. Dolores is going to make sure, Albert's going to stop by and talk with Dolores. That's great. All right. Harris County was going to purchase this property after Harvey, and they didn't. There was no flood insurance. So after spending a fortune to make repairs, now you're going to give pre-Harvey appraisal. So that is just too bad, question mark. Lori, do you want to hit on that one?
Sorry, I was muted. Let me read the question again. There's no flood insurance, so after spending fortune to make repairs, you're now going to give pre-harm appraisal, so that is just too bad. I believe, and this would be a, we probably just need to speak to this person individually. It'd be a case-by-case basis. The property would be approved pre-Harvey value. So I think the best for this, the answer for this is let us just talk to that person on a case-by-case basis.
Okay. So
if you could send a message.
Yeah. Bonnie Florio, if you could send a message, where do you want the message to go to?
If y'all can send, if you want to send it to y'all's website, and then someone can just forward it to me.
Yep. rebuildharris@csd.hctx.net. All right. More information about us having a Spanish session, which we are setting up. Will the comparison in value be money-wise or square footage or rooms? Question mark. Again, the process is to go out in the market and find all those things will be the comparable, but it's not money-wise. It's square footage, number of rooms, those things to put you in a comparable home, not comparable by value.
And number of acres that the house sits on.
Yeah, number of acres the house sits on. What is the waiting time frame for the ones that have property and have been approved for home rebuild? I think what you're getting at is, what is the timeline of this process? I think we outlined that in this situation where we, by December 15th, offers provided to everyone in the program by then. So that's kind of the time frame to have that offer, and then there's the 30 days, 90 days, and then finding a new place within 180 from that. Will there be transcripts of these meetings, questions and answers?
Yes, we are creating we're capturing the questions, we are answering the questions, we will be posting them to our website.
Great. Dolores, thank you so much for posting the appearances for Harris County Commissioners Court for those who want to appear. All right, and she posted it in Spanish as well. Thank you. All right, I'm a real estate agent working with Bonnie Florio. My major question, it seems like a conflict of interest for your county to ask us their relocation service going to represent you effectively after you agree to buy out and only give you a limited time to contest that appraised value. But payouts probably won't start till January, ? Who determines what is going to be available in January? Are people going to be forced into homes that they don't want? Kathy?
Jade, thank you very much for your question. As a real estate professional, we are not asking, we are not going to be forcing people into homes they don't want. That's why they have a relocation agent. The relocation agent works with the homeowner and the real estate agent to help them find a house that they can move into. How this works is we find a house that is the most comparable to what they currently have today that is on the open market. However, they don't that particular house. It's just that's the one that's the most comparable, and we use that number to calculate our benefits and like the replacement housing payment and that kind of thing. So no, they're not forced to go into a house they don't want. It is possible the offer will be out before December 15th. We have a deadline with the GLO to commit the funds by December 15th. So that is why we're saying December 15th we'll have the offers out. But it is possible that if we get all the paperwork completed and the appraisal in, we can make an offer in November. Is it realistic? I don't think so. That's why we're using the December date. And it really does depend on how quickly we find the replacement housing and how soon we can close on it and on the house that you're selling to the county. So there's a lot of timing issues, but a key thing is the real estate professional will need to work with our team to help find the replacement housing into escrow, help them with the, if they have to apply for a mortgage, help them with the mortgage process. We will be looking to real estate professionals to help us in that process.
All right, thank you. And I think that really hits on the next couple questions. And don't forget, one question here Tom asks is, how do we know that the appraised value is not based on a home located in a high crime and rundown areas such as Freeway Forest or High Meadows, et cetera? Again, part of that process, you also have a say in it in the appeals process as well. Okay, it's a statement. I think we hit on this question. What's going to happen to the ones that are just renters? Do you want to re-hit on that one real quick for me, Kathy?
Yes, we will. We are contacting landowners first, and so because it is your property, and then we are asking you as to inform us who you're, so that we can then follow up with them and gather their information because they are entitled to relocation benefits. So if you are a tenant and you're listening to this call, please coordinate with your landlord and make sure that he or she responds, so that we can also contact you directly, because we do have to gather information and we will help you find replacement housing.
All right, the next one, an auto reply on the email address would be helpful with an ETA if reply. Okay, thank you. Of when a reply might be expected. Okay, got it. Thank you. Jacqueline, can we do that on that email address to make sure people get an auto reply?
I'll look into that and see if we can make that happen. I have to check the technology, but we'll do that.
Okay. Alberto has a good question. I've been to your office and told that some areas are voluntary and some are mandatory. Why are the option for those voluntary, not for mandatory? And if we all live near or close to the bayou or the flooded areas, it depends on where the funding is coming from. certain programs that when you talk with Flood Control District, which is not our office, they have a voluntary program in theirs. So it just depends on which program is being presented. So that's the main difference, is that flood control still has a voluntary program where we do not. What happens to those that decline all offers? We hope we create a situation where we can show that it's in your best interest. But in the unlikely event we get to that point, we don't want it to have to get to that point. It's where in the slide it talks about in which the county would use its condemnation rights in order to make the purchase happen. All right. When will people start being assigned a relocation agent? It's from Francisco.
At this point, they are being assigned a case what's called an eligibility specialist or a case manager. And those letters will be going out this week, and they'll be asking them to contact them. The letter does ask you to meet on a specific day and time, but if you cannot make that day or time, then we ask you to contact us and we'll reschedule. Because of COVID, we're trying to do as much of, virtual meetings as we can, but we understand we need to have face-to-face meetings, and we will make arrangements to have a face-to-face meeting if necessary. Once the eligibility specialists complete their process, we'll have a relocation agent assigned. In fact, we're in the process of assigning those right now. And what we're looking at is if we know that we have a Spanish speaker, their eligibility specialist will be a Spanish speaker, and possibly even the relocation agent, or at least have a translator available.
All right. If I have a real estate agent, can I use them? The answer is yes. Okay, Manny, I apologize. I must have missed something here. I don't know if you're trying to talk to the whole group or not, but it says, read my second statement. It was meant for you guys, not the displaced ones. Manny, go ahead and unmute your phone and say what you're trying to say. It's okay.
Oh, ya decía.
Okay, looks like we're having some trouble with that. Manny, if you can make sure your speakers are turned down when you're off mute, or when I get to the end, I'll try to go back to whatever your second statement was. Okay, let's see here. All right, Jade, looks like she's giving a statement to Adam. Adam, take a look on that. It was at 11:43. If you can go to mute, please. If you can go to mute, thank you. All right, I'm sorry. I feel like we've covered this, but I'm still unclear. Can we buy a house before we get our offer, but when we're assigned a case, kind of a in between in the system? They have a case manager, all those other things. We're already talking with them. I would say you really need to make sure you have a case manager and they explain that with your exact situation. I don't want to give you bad information and you go out and you find a house and you start moving too quickly. I think you need to have a case manager in place and talking to them before you do that. Can you provide the site for the slideshow, please? Fabiola, can you please? Thank you. Can you provide the site for the slideshow, please? I missed it earlier. Yes, it's at www.harrisrecovery.org. and it will be on the sites. Jocelyn, when can we have that up?
I am adding it, well, I'm adding the link to the chat right now, and we will have the presentation up. We'll go ahead and get it, I'll send it over to the webmaster and we'll get it put up before the end of this meeting. The presentation from the last there, and so I'm chat.
Okay, thank you. 1 second. Okay. Let's see here. My parents have the mindset that they have a choice to move or not. Is that actually a choice in this matter? Unfortunately, no. Again, it's a life safety issue. It won't be a choice. But also, the other aspect is that I don't think they would want that choice when the expense of this moving forward and the lack of help that's going to happen in the future from the feds in the event of another disaster. All right. Information. She has the website up there. All right, Fabiola, go ahead. Ms. Delgado, go ahead. You had another question.
I'm sorry. One of the people wants to know if the legal status will affect if they do have a mobile home. Will the mobile home will be able to be moved if they find a location? Santa, pero no oigo la respuesta.
Yes, yes, they will have the ability to be moved.
Okay, ¿de qué más qué otra pregunta? Okay, one more. The other question they have is if will be paid a one lump sum, will that check be? How is that work?
It would be one lump sum. It would be based off the title, just like if you were to go purchase or sell a house in a normal situation.
Oh, okay.
All right, can you go back to mute? Ms. Delgado, can you go back to mute? I got some feedback. All right, thank you. Ms. Delgado, I want to ask a question real quick to you. Are you in the Allen Fields area? Is that where you're at right now? Kenwood area?
Yes, sir. We are in the Allen Field. I have 12 people here with me.
Okay, great. Ms. Delgado, can you please send it on that email, shoot us your address. I'm going to have a team go out this weekend and canvass this weekend to provide information in Spanish to your folks as well out there, so they have as much information as possible in Spanish. So if you can get us kind of your centroid address, I'm going to go. Teams go out there, provide the information by hand, and get it to you. Okay, and put flyers on doors.
Can I ask a question about Allen Fields?
Thank you.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Can you specifically identify the Allen Fields properties? Because on the property titles, Allen Fields is specifically the area east of Homestead. And your map, though, it's a little hinky. You're calling the bigger area Allen Fields, and other areas that fall within your drawing are not Allen Fields. Are you going by property description?
Yeah, we're going by the actual locations. So if you want to shoot us an email or call us on the phone number and look at your exact property to see if it's impacted, give us a call or send us an email.
Well, and the other, if I can go just a little bit, because our family went into that neighborhood, in 5051. My mother's house that sits currently there was bought as built in 2011 as part of the Texas Department of Housing Community Affairs program, which they took down the old house and put up a new house, which is basically a beach house. It met the flood elevation requirements and certifications and everything for the program that was built. It sits on the edge of the area that is not being mandatory bought out, right at the beginning of the neighborhood on March Street. And so, you know, it's like, okay, y'all approved the house, or someone approved the house, the feds did, for the program. It passes the elevation and everything. It is a beach house. I mean, with 6-8 inch pillars, and even though it's in Carroll Place, it appears to have been lumped in with the Allen Fields properties, which are in the back of the neighborhood towards the railroad tracks, which sit lower than the other parts of the neighborhoods. And the railroad tracks act as a dam to retain the water, because the trestle there has never been widened, to my knowledge, to allow the flow of the bayou. And one other question. Why did y'all allow Aldine Independent School District to build a school directly on the other side of the bayou from the neighborhood, and now you're forcing out the neighborhood? Yeah, and I understand that y'all are doing, it could become a retention area, but east of the railroad tracks, there are hundreds of acres of land, some of it near the wastewater treatment plant, some of it near a park, and God forbid that y'all would build a retention pond and take Fallbrook's, you know, you got a lot of stroke out there, and y'all would never take that and build a retention pond out there. But you got hundreds of acres out there that a retention pond, a massive one, could have been built. But I'm sorry, I'm just is going on here. But
no, that's fine.
If you could answer that.
Look, a lot is. We've had multiple flooding disasters since 2011. In fact, our maps are even changing now because of that, with a better understanding of what our rainfall rate in a 100-year event is, which places you even deeper in the floodplain. Having water held back simply by railroad tracks is not a sustainable situation, especially if that ever gives. And the disaster that could happen to anyone who's occupying your mother's property. Due to safety reasons, that's not sustainable. As far as the Aldine School District property, I don't know the answer to that. I don't know what the situation was at the time that when they were built. But I do know that
it was built last couple of years.
Yeah, and so again, we can't prohibit purchasing a property. We won't have a offer, purchasing a property or building on a property when we don't have a valid offer for that property. If they made the assessment with their engineers that they were safe to build at that location, and it wasn't against our rules and regulations at the time, and they did the correct amount of detention and elevation and mitigation to minimize, then we have to issue the permit. We can't prohibit it. So we'll talk with you about your specific situation and whether or not you're in it. Again, send us an email or call the number that's on your screen right now. All right, we're about the 2-hour mark. I'll take one more question for this. And again, Ms. Delgado, thank you so much for everything you've done for your community there. We're going to get folks out there as soon as possible to make sure that they have the information that they need.
Okay, no problem, sir. Anything to help out. Thank you.
You're the best. Appreciate it. All right, well, I'll take one more question. Anybody have it?
Yes, if you think Canvas weekend, can you set up a town hall meeting instead in the same community of Allenfield? There is a property that is available. It's open space, it may be
social
easier
distancing,
for your.
Shirley, is that Dolores?
Yes, Shirley.
Hey, Dolores. Hey, thank you again for being on this call. Yeah, I can't do that. There's no way I can say let's have a a face-to-face type meeting, no matter how much separation and everyone wearing masks. It would not be smart right now to do that. But we are getting this one set up for Spanish speaking as soon as possible. But we are going to get.
Earlier you mentioned a 2 to 3 week time frame, and as you can see, the uncertainty, the anxiety is building up. And so, if you're able to get a team of canvassers out this weekend, is it possible to maybe have a town hall meeting earlier than even virtually? Thank you.
I'm going to do everything I can to make that happen as soon as possible to alleviate those issues. Hey, since I have you, sorry I didn't recognize you earlier, Dolores. Were you able, from the last town hall meeting, were you able to get some folks together?
We have gotten some folks together here. So I'm doing the same thing that Fabiola is doing with the Spanish community. I'm doing the same thing in the back of the area.
Can you do me a favor? Can you give folks your email address again, so if they want to contact you and you get more folks from this?
That's actually Shirley's email address. So I'm going to provide that once again in the chat. Okay,
yeah. So folks in the chat, about to be provided. Dolores is going to give you an email address. Just kind of, you know, these folks are separate from Harris County, but they're trying to get as much information and get people to understand what's happening. Here we go. It's HOUDOTR@gmail.com. I'll phonetically spell it out. Hotel Oscar Uniform Delta Oscar Tango Romeo @gmail.com.
And
Josh,
she can help with Spanish speaking as well.
Josh, we do have 2 people with their hands raised that we probably should talk to.
Okay, go ahead.
The first one is Jade Turner. If Jade wants to unmute and ask your question. All right, if Jade's not available, then Zurizari, I apologize for mispronouncing your name.
Yes, I have 2 parents who live in Mark Street, and they have 2 houses, and they want to see if they can be able to get the benefits for when they buy the new place.
If they're on Mark Street, is that what you said?
Yes, they are.
Okay. Then go ahead and email us at the rebuildharris@csd.hctx.net with their information as well as yours, and we'll have one of our staff contact you directly and get you the information. They should have been mailed the information because we did mail that information out, but we'll go ahead and follow up with you. Okay, and Jade Turner, one last time.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. All right, Kathy, any final words before we close it out?
Just we ask that people please contact our eligibility specialists as they get their letters to set up meetings. And again, we have Spanish translators and Spanish speakers available. And we do have the brochures in Spanish, and we will definitely be providing them, and we'll have a stack of those on the team that go out this weekend.
All right. Thank you all very much.
Hello. Josh, one more thing. Josh, just to let you know, the first letter about the subject, I received it this last Friday. I never heard about the first meeting, and all came as a surprise to me on the first letter that came printed, I believe, in July 23, mailed 2-3 days later. I received it last Friday, just to let you know. So this way, hopefully the future will be better.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Eli. I appreciate it. Absolutely.
No problem.
All right. Anyone else? Yes, go ahead.
Does anybody know if the people that live south of the Halls Bayou, if they are going to be receiving letters of any information? I was concerned because when I looked at the PDF file that was sent in an attachment with the mandatory buyout program, it looked like everybody in that Halls Bayou was included, but now I understood that north of the bayou is mandatory and south of the bayou is in limbo, or it might be that you could be in the voluntary program, but maybe you're not. But all the houses here, from the Olding Westfield all the way to the Hardy Street, the Hardy Toll Road, it looks like they do not have an idea of what is going on. Many of them are illegal and they have not received anything. My question is, will they be sending info to these houses in writing, or are they in the plan?
Information was sent to every address that is impacted. So if they are part of the program, and I don't have the map up right now, but if they, and it's kind of hard to follow the description, but yes, everyone should have received information. Kathy?
Yes, in the Halls area, and Mr. Aneo, thank you for keep asking the question. I do have a contact at the Flood Control District who will take a look at your property and those south of the bayou, because they have a voluntary program that they are working on. It's a different pot of money that they are using, but it is a voluntary program. Unfortunately, your house is not in the mandatory area. And I will, after this call, I will call you directly and give you their name and phone number.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
There's a lot of people here that they don't know what is going on, but I do not. What I want to know is, do you have knowledge of these properties? Are they, because I've been here for 18 years. I did not get anything in writing. I got an email, and that's how I was able to log into the previous, but I never got anything in writing.
Right. Let me call you after the call, and because I was given some information, and then that way we can talk one-on-one.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
All right. Any other questions?
For the ones, can you hear me?
Yes, Cynthia.
For the ones, and this is not for the flood zone areas, but I have been approved. I was low. Is there a time frame on that too? Is it going to be December 15th for us as well? Or are we on another bracket totally different?
I assume you're talking about you applied for some sort of reimbursement or for reconstruction, rebuild. That's a different time frame. Hopefully it's sooner, but the GLO will be most likely contacting you with your specific address. That being said, if you want to send us a note on that same email address about your case number and all that, I'll make sure that it gets either passed off to the GLO or determine whether or not we're working on that. Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right, folks, that's all the time we have on this one. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And we'll be talking with you soon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
I was just listening to. Yeah. Thank you.